Las Vegas Raiders, big moves and big expectations. Free agency is finally slowing down, kind of like me after a short sprint, and now is the perfect time to break down the Las Vegas Raiders' latest signings. There's a lot to talk about, so let's dive right in. But before we get into the latest Raiders news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, tap the bell icon, and stay updated with all things Raiders. Let's keep the energy high. Now, let's get to the action. Raiders lock in Isaiah Pola-Mao. One of the first key moves of the offseason was bringing back Isaiah Pola-Mao on a 2-year, $8.45 million deal. This move makes a lot of sense. Isaiah showed promise last season, and with some key departures in the secondary, he's set for a bigger role. With Trevon Moehrig and Marcus Epps moving on to other teams, the Raiders need a strong presence in the backfield, and if there's anyone who can bring out the best in Isaiah, it's head coach Pete Carroll, a man who knows how to develop safeties. After all, he coached Troy Polamalu at USC, and we all know how that turned out. Raiders land a new quarterback. The biggest move of the offseason? Trading a third-round pick to the Seahawks for quarterback Gino Smith. While he may not have been the top target for many fans, this move makes sense. Pete Carroll has a strong connection with Gino from their time in Seattle, and he clearly believes in his ability to lead the team. With this trade, the Raiders get an experienced quarterback who already knows Carroll's system. That means less time adjusting and more time focusing on winning. Will Gino be the long-term answer? That remains to be seen, but for now, he's the guy the Raiders are betting on. Stay tuned, because this offseason is just getting started. What do you think of these moves? Let us know in the comments. Raiders lock in their quarterback. Gino Smith. Pete Carroll got his guy. This move wasn't just a random decision. It was carefully planned. With John Spytek and even Tom Brady in agreement, the Raiders made a move that solidifies their quarterback position. Why is this a big deal? The Raiders made this trade before free agency even began, avoiding the chaos that left teams like the Giants, Browns, and Vikings scrambling for a quarterback. Instead of chasing uncertain options, the Raiders locked in Gino Smith for just a third-round pick, a solid deal for a team that desperately needed stability at quarterback. What this means for the Raiders' future. With Gino Smith in place, the Raiders now have something incredibly valuable: flexibility in the draft. They don't have to reach for a quarterback early. Instead, they can focus on building a stronger defense, securing an elite wide receiver, or even adding a top-tier running back. The number 6 overall pick gives them plenty of options, and that's a great position to be in. But here's the catch: Gino's contract. There are rumors that he wants $40 to $45 million per year. If he plays at an elite level, that's fine. But if he struggles, that contract could be a problem. That's why, for now, this move gets a B+ grade. Raiders keep a key piece on defense. Another smart move by the Raiders? Re-signing defensive tackle Adam Butler to a 3-year, $16.5 million deal. This isn't just another signing. Butler was one of the most underrated defensive players last season. He played a key role on the Raiders' defensive line, delivering one of the best performances of his career. Bringing him back at a reasonable price is a smart move, especially since he'll be reuniting with defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. Expect his role to expand this season, making him an even bigger part of the defense. For that, this move earns a solid B grade. Raiders strengthen their defense with key signings. The Raiders took their time in free agency, but when they made their move, they made it count. Las Vegas signed safety Chinn to a 2-year, $16 million deal, and this was a smart pickup. Chinn, a perfect fit for the Raiders' defense. After losing Trevon Moehrig to the Carolina Panthers, the Raiders needed to fill a hole in the secondary. Moehrig got a big contract in Carolina, and while he was a solid player, the Raiders found a high-upside replacement in Chinn, and at a much better price. Chinn is an athletic, hard-hitting safety who fits perfectly in Pete Carroll's defensive system. He's coming off his best season yet, and he has all the tools to thrive in the Raiders' secondary. The Raiders needed a physical presence in the backfield, and Chinn brings exactly that. Some fans might be sleeping on this move, but don't be fooled. This is a strong addition to the defense. The price is right, the talent is there, and Chinn has the potential to become a key player in Las Vegas. Grade B+. Raiders re-sign Malcolm Koonce, a move with huge upside. Now, let's talk about possibly the best move of the Raiders' offseason so far, re-signing Malcolm Koonce on a one-year $12 million prove-it deal. This move had Raiders fans both excited and nervous. Koonce was one of the top breakout candidates last season, but injuries slowed him down. There was a real concern that he might leave in free agency, but the Raiders managed to bring him back at a great price. Why this move is a win for the Raiders. 1. Koonce knows the system. He's already familiar with Patrick Graham's defense, so there's no learning curve. 2. He's got something to prove. Coming off an injury, Koonce is playing for a long-term contract. That hunger to prove himself could mean a breakout season. 3. Perfect pairing with Max Crosby. The Raiders have been looking for a strong edge rusher to complement Crosby, and Koonce could be that guy. If Koonce builds on his late 2023 form and stays healthy, this could turn into a long-term deal, keeping him in silver and black for years to come. This move isn't just good, it's one of the smartest decisions the Raiders have made this offseason. Grade A-. Raiders strengthen defense with key depth signings. The Raiders continue to bolster their defense, adding depth and experience to their roster. 2 key signings stand out: cornerback Lonnie Johnson Jr. and linebacker Elandon Roberts. Lonnie Johnson Jr., a depth piece with something to prove. Coming from the Carolina Panthers, Lonnie Johnson Jr. joins the Raiders' secondary, a unit that desperately needs reinforcements. Johnson has bounced around the league, playing for multiple teams, but his versatility and size make him a good fit for Pete Carroll's defensive system. While he hasn't made a major impact in the NFL yet, he brings valuable special teams experience and could see limited snaps in the secondary. However, one thing that stands out about Johnson is his attitude. In his press conference, he spoke about having a chip on his shoulder and being ready to prove himself in Las Vegas. Carroll has a track record of getting the best out of big defensive backs, and if Johnson buys into the system, he could surprise people. For now, though, this is mostly a depth signing. Grade C+ to Elandon Roberts, a veteran leader for the linebacker corps. Now, let's talk about linebacker Elandon Roberts, a player who Raiders fans should be excited about. At first, his name didn't generate much buzz, but after watching his tape and hearing him speak, it's clear that this guy is a true leader. The Raiders had a major hole at linebacker after losing Robert Spillane to the Patriots, and Roberts steps in as a solid replacement. Here's why this move makes sense. Proven experience. Roberts has been a reliable linebacker throughout his career, known for his physicality and high football IQ. Great value. The Raiders signed him to a one-year $3 million deal, which is a steal for a player of his caliber. Leadership. He has the mentality of a true leader, and don't be surprised if he ends up wearing the green dot as the signal caller on defense. This is the type of under-the-radar signing that pays off big. Roberts brings toughness, leadership, and experience to a defense that needs it. Grade B+ Raiders strengthen defense with smart, low-risk moves. The Raiders continue to build their roster with strategic signings, focusing on depth and potential upside. 2 recent additions stand out: cornerback Eric Stokes and linebacker Elandon Roberts. Elandon Roberts, a hard-hitting enforcer. Elandon Roberts isn't a flashy name, but he brings toughness and leadership to the Raiders' defense. His style of play is eerily similar to Robert Spillane, whom the Raiders lost to the Patriots. Here's what makes this a solid signing. Checkmark run-stopping machine. Roberts excels at stuffing the run, much like Spillane. While neither player is great in coverage, the Raiders needed a strong tackler in the middle. Respected leader. Steelers fans weren't happy to see him go, which says a lot. His experience and leadership will be valuable on and off the field. Great value. Signing him to a one-year, $3 million deal is a steal. He's a veteran who plays with heart and could become the emotional leader of the defense. Grade B plus Eric Stokes, a high-risk, high-reward gamble. The Raiders also took a chance on former first-round pick Eric Stokes, signing him to a one-year, $4 million deal. Stokes had a promising start with the Packers, showing elite speed with a 4.29-second 40-yard dash. However, injuries slowed down his progress and he hasn't quite lived up to expectations. Here's why this move makes sense. Speed to burn. Stokes is one of the fastest corners in the NFL. If he stays healthy, he can keep up with any receiver. Fresh start in Vegas. Sometimes a change of scenery helps players bounce back. If Stokes can regain his rookie year form, this move will look brilliant. Low risk, high upside. At just $4 million for 1 year, this is a smart gamble. If he doesn't pan out, it's not a huge loss. While expectations should be kept in check, Stokes has the potential to be a key piece in the Raiders' secondary. Grade B-. Raiders free agency. Smart spending, solid depth moves. The Raiders might not have made the flashiest moves in free agency, but they've been smart, calculated, and efficient in building their roster. One of the latest additions is veteran running back Raheem Mostert, signed on a one-year, $2.1 million deal, a steal considering his past production. Raheem Mostert, a low-cost, high-upside pickup. Mostert might not be the RB1 of the future, but here's why this move makes sense. Checkmark proven talent. Just 2 years ago, he was leading the league in touchdowns, 21 total. Injuries have slowed him down, but he still has the ability to contribute. Familiarity with the system. Mostert already has history with offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, meaning he can quickly adapt to the Raiders' offense. Depth and insurance. The Raiders needed more options at running back. Pairing Mostert with younger backs like Dylan Lobb and Sincere McCormick gives the team flexibility heading into the season. While the Raiders may still look for a long-term RB1, this low-risk, high-reward move provides much-needed depth.